What's up, everybody? Baby Huey here, and joining me once again is my tag team partner, BrianTronic. What's going on, man?
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Sing it, Brian.
I don't know the rest.
Serenade the Kliqsters.
We're back.
Yes, man. We're back, baby. Yes, here we are. Back for a brand new episode of In The Kliq. Sorry once again. I feel like 2023, I feel like I've been apologizing a lot for just kind of like sporadic episodes. But man, real talk, life's been busy, man. Summer's been really busy for me at work, for me personally, my shoot job, my main job, just with concerts and events and coworkers going on vacation and covering for them and doing extra shifts. And yeah, it's been very busy. And on top of that, having a social life. And on top of that, watching all the wrestling that exists right now. And very fitting. I saw Adam Cole tweet out, and I'm just paraphrasing. He just says, what a lucky time right now, just how much wrestling there is to consume. But yeah, for us fans, it is a lot to take in, especially for us. We like to watch it all. We like to support it all. We're not biased one way or the other. I mean, you know, when one's doing good, we want to praise it. When one's doing bad, we'll talk about it. But yeah, with that being said, it is a lot to keep track of. And
it is so much.
Yeah,
Every
but
week.
How you doing, man? What's new? How's everything going with you?
I'm doing good. You know, I'm just getting ready to move here soon.
Yeah.
I got a little over a month left. Was expecting to move last Saturday, but
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
pushed. Yeah, it got pushed back to October 2nd now.
Whoa.
So now I had to like reprogram and get prepared for that. But other than
That's why
that,
some of the tech issues you had this week or this weekend. Okay.
Yeah, I had to call and get my internet switched from my new place back over to my old place because I'm not at the new place. I'm still at the old place.
Oh my God. Okay.
Took a few hours, and I'm like, oh man. And I see, so it was supposed to happen Saturday. I thought that it was canceled, right? Because I called, made arrangements. Okay, canceled, cool. But I guess it wasn't, and so I wake up Sunday morning and I'm like, yo, what's going on? Why is nothing's working? I can't Twitter. I'm refreshing. I'm like, what's going on? So I'm glad I figured it out though. And it got turned back on like at least before halfway through All In. So I was able to put it on the TV and watch it. So
okay.
It was cool.
Good. Yeah, that's right. You were watching on your iPad for the first half.
Yeah, but then like I don't know if it was the service or if it was the feed, but it kept like blacking out just randomly throughout some of the matches.
I saw some people complaining like the feed was cutting in and out.
Yeah, it was cutting in and out. So I don't know. I didn't have any problems once I switched to the TV though. So I was like, thank you.
Come on, AEW, make a deal with HBO Max and just get it done. Just put everything on HBO Max or Max now and just stream everything there.
Easier. Yeah. It would be so much easier. I mean, in fact, I think that it would be a easier, you know, because like going through the BR app, it's difficult. Like if you like I've experienced that if I order using my phone and I try to go on the TV, it's not going to work, right? Or if I order on the computer and I try and go on the TV, it's not going to work. But if I order on the TV, it works across the board with every device. Yeah. Okay. So I won't make that mistake of ordering through my phone or my computer anymore. But it's such an inconvenience because, like, what if I'm out and I want to hurry up and order real quick? Or, like, what if I know I'm not going to be home for a certain amount of time? That's why I need to start ordering them ahead of time. But sometimes you got to wait. Sometimes you got to wait, though, because you never know if it's even going to be that good of a card. You don't really get all the matches until the week of, right?
Well, that can be kind of said for next weekend's All Out pay-per-view. A lot of people are already kind of saying, man, this sounds like it's just a really good episode of Dynamite instead of pay-per-view.
Let me look. I don't even know what matches there are. I know Miro and Powerhouse.
Let's see. Let's look. It's coming up here.
Oh, here we go.
They got 5. So Luchasaurus versus Darby Allin, Miro, Hobbs, Statlander, Ruby Soho, Orange Cassidy, he's gonna fight Penta this Wednesday, and then the winner fights Moxley on Sunday.
This is a super Rampage show so far. This is like a battle of the belts or a clash or something like that.
Yeah, well, hence why it's kind of weird that they're doing back-to-back pay-per-views in a week. It does not make sense, but we can talk a little bit about that as we make our way through. So that's the thing, man. I was like, here we are, end of last week. I was getting kind of excited. I was like, all right, All In's this weekend. It's a big pay-per-view for them. It's their first show at Wembley Stadium, and come to find after this weekend, they had 81,035 tickets sold. So the most paid tickets sold for a wrestling show, all-time new record. Super excited, super happy for them. Congrats to them. I was like, okay, we have this big show. It's definitely going to be the talk for the next couple days. Can't wait to do a review. I know it's been a couple weeks since we've done like AEW specific episodes. So I was just kind of excited for that, for you and I to get back together and record all that stuff. But yeah, man, like not even 45 minutes into the show, a whole new black cloud was thrown over the pay-per-view, became the talk on the Twitter and just online, and now here we are a couple days later. It's still everyone talking about it, and the fallout from this whole new CM Punk drama that's coming through right now. So let's talk about this first. So yeah, this is going to be our All In 2023 review, which we'll get into all that in the matches, but we got to talk about the big news story that's coming out from this, the CM Punk Jack Perry altercation that happened backstage. What happened? What's been reported since? Brian, you and I spent like the last 20 something minutes before we hit record trying to catch up on all the news and all the details, because here we are, we're recording on a Tuesday, and like a lot of new details came out today and yesterday.
Every few hours, I feel like it's like, oh my God, something else. Oh my God, another one. Oh, another report.
Between Fightful Select, House of Wrestling, PW Torch, PW Torch. That's Wade Keller's, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What's Mike Johnson?
PW Insider.
PW Insider. I feel like between those four, all kind of taking turns of like some little tidbit of news coming out and stuff like that. So, man, it's a lot to keep track of, and I feel so bad because I feel like once again, an altercation involving CM Punk is overshadowing what's supposed to be a big event for AEW, a landmark historical moment for this young company, and it's being overshadowed by something CM Punk did. And it's just really unfortunate because for the fans and the wrestlers went out there and put on an amazing show. It's like their body of work is not going to get enough attention right now because of what CM Punk did. And it's just, here we are almost a year later after the brawl out at All Out last year, last Labor Day weekend. God. So, all right, let's just talk about, here we go. So there's a lot that's come out, and we're going to do our best to summarize it. I mean, we might miss something here or there, but I mean, like, we'll go with the major highlights here. And let's see. I have first, let me see. Yeah, the article from Sports Illustrated. So I'm going to try to read some of these highlights here, and then we'll react to it and whatnot. So yeah, bear with me. It's just so much to keep track of. So, all right, Sports Illustrated reported CM Punk and Jack Perry have both been suspended for an altercation before the start of the All In pay-per-view. The incident remains under investigation by AEW. It began Sunday during the All In pre-show in the middle of Perry's match against Hook. There was a spot that involved a car window. Perry looked in the camera and said, "It's real glass, cry me a river." That comment appeared to be pointed directly at Punk, who had objected to Perry's desire to use real glass on a recent episode of Collision. On Sunday, when Perry returned backstage after the pre-show match, he exchanged words with Punk. Though there are multiple accounts of what actually took place, eyewitnesses have confirmed there was a physicality between Punk and Perry. It is important to note that as the commotion unfolded, AEW was mere moments away from the most significant pay-per-view in company history. All In was scheduled to start with Punk against Mojo, but due to the altercation, there's a quick but significant discussion about having a different match, the six-man tag tag pitting Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Page against Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Takesha opened the show. Let's see. So, okay. The wrestlers in the 6-man tag were prepared to start the pay-per-view, but that turned out to be unnecessary. Punk and Joe opened the show as planned after Samoa Joe spoke with Punk. Multiple sources confirmed. To the credit of Punk and Joe, their match took place without issue. The time of the ongoing investigation adds a complicating factor for the suspended talents. AEW holds 3 live shows in Chicago this week. Dynamite on Wednesday, Collision on Saturday, and the All Out pay-per-view on Sunday. And Punk's presence in his hometown is a massive draw. As of right now, it is unknown how long the investigation will last. Okay. So, yes, for all of us who watch 0 Hour, the second match of that hour, it was Jack Perry versus Hook. The glass spot or on top of the car where Jack Perry suplex Hook into the front windshield there, broke. But right before that, as SI just reported, Jack Perry looked at the camera and says, "It's real glass, cry me a river." And then the altercation happened. Now, let's see. Okay, I'm trying to think what else to go next here. So, let's see. Now, another report on today's Wrestling Observer Live. Brian Alvarez talked about what has he heard between the incident between Jack Perry and CM Punk. Alvarez says he's talked to at least a dozen people since the show. He knows that there are different versions of what exactly happened. In regards to the issue between Perry and Punk from a few weeks ago, Punk supposedly saying that he didn't want Jack Perry to get cut from real glass during an angle with Hook to avoid missing time from work. Alvarez confirmed that Perry had a planned vacation. Alvarez also confirmed that the glass spot involving a car and collision was approved, but CM Punk said no to the spot. Let's see how much more is here. Let's see. Alvarez said that the issue from Jungle Boy's side was that the belief was, I got this okay. It was clear from the company, and then this guy didn't let me do it. He felt he's not letting me do it because I'm friends with the Young Bucks. That was what was in his mind. Apparently, Alvarez said he didn't hear this from Jack Perry, but people in this company heard this a few weeks ago. On the report about CM Punk's travel issues, that's a whole other thing we'll get into, which we'll talk about that in a second. Okay, so let's talk about this first, though. Okay. So Jack Perry does the glass spot, calls out more or less CM Punk, goes backstage. From the reports are saying while Jack Perry's getting kind of cleaned up from the blood and the glass after the match, CM Punk, I guess, is coming to, was it Mongo position? They don't call it gorilla position. They call it Mongo position.
Yeah.
The reports are saying he approached Jack Perry and says, "You got a problem with me?" And more or less like pied Jack Perry in the face. Jack Perry got up. And it's CM Punk supposedly choked him out or tried to put him in a chokehold. And then I guess a lot of people came running in to stop it, break it up. During that course of action, knocked down monitors in front of Tony Khan. CM Punk got heated, didn't want to go out there. Samoa Joe had to calm him down and convince him to go out there to the ring, have the match, because that was the scheduled first match of the night. But they were trying to scramble and trying to have maybe Young Bucks, FTR go first, or the 6-man tag, as SI was reporting. But Samoa Joe was able to calm down CM Punk, convince him to go out there and have the first match of the night. So, okay, Brian, a lot to unpack here. So just initially, what are your thoughts on CM Punk and Jack Perry having this altercation against each other?
It's a little bit of a shocker because I thought they got along. I thought that they were cool. I thought they were friends, and I don't know. Jack Perry doesn't come across to me, at least. I don't know him personally, but he doesn't come across to me as someone who would be like a troublemaker or anything. But at the same time, I know that he probably doesn't take any mess from anybody either.
Yeah.
Right. At least I would think that. I mean, he's a smaller guy too. So, when you're a smaller guy in this field, in this world, you got to stick up for yourself. Right.
Yeah.
Another thing, I initially thought when I saw the report, I was like, "There's no way this is real." Like Jack Perry he's really just laying into his character right now. Like he's a jerk. He's an asshole. Like
Yeah.
we're gonna get Jack Perry versus CM Punk. That's what we're getting. But I guess not. And I mean, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just surprised that CM Punk has found himself yet again in some drama and some mess backstage. You know, whether it's Jack Perry's fault or CM Punk's fault. I would think that I would think that after coming back, that CM Punk would be not necessarily like laying down necessarily for people, but maybe just, I don't know, like playing it cool. Like, I mean, if you don't get along with any and everybody, right, then come to work, do your job, go home, right? Like, stay clear of any and everybody. It seemed like, I mean, just based going off the reports that Tony Khan had been, whenever him and somebody else he didn't get along with were in the same building at the same time, you know, you would hear that, okay, CM Punk had to be escorted out one way, or he left right after, or the other person maybe didn't make it to the arena. He was told not to come to the taping or whatever, you know, stuff like that. So I don't know, man. It's sad. It's sad because it's like, man, here we are again. And yeah, it was such a historic moment. It's a historic event, a big day for everybody involved in AEW. And before, what was this? Was it before? I don't know. Was it before the CM Punk Samoa Joe match or was after? It was before the CM Punk Samoa Joe match,
yeah,
right?
because so remember, so for 0 Hour, it was Adam Cole, MJF versus Aussie Open. That was like early in the first hour, and then they had the break. They went to Renee and Big Show and them up at the studio desk. Then he went to Hook and Jack Perry. Yeah, and I think their match wasn't that long as well. But when it got done, I think there were still at least 15, 20 minutes before the top of the hour to start All In officially, the main show. So it seemed like there's altercation, the breakup, quickly scrambling, seeing if anyone else on the other matches want to go first instead. But then Samoa Joe finding time to talk CM Punk down. And then top of the hour with the intro and the entrances. So, I mean, it looked like it took them probably about 20 minutes to get this all cleared up and start the first match of the main show. Yeah, I'm with you. It's just sad. It's just really sad because just once again, AEW, especially in the last year and a half, 2 years, definitely the last year, it's the backstage drama that's overshadowing what's going on in the ring. Yeah. When you're a wrestling company that's trying to get established and develop a reputation with fans and create fans and get people to believe in your product and to care about your product and tune in on a regular basis, it's tough because it's like all the backstage drama is what's overshadowing what's going on in the ring, and everyone's just caring about like, refreshing Twitter and see what the latest breaking news is of what he said or she said or blah, blah, blah backstage versus what's coming up on Dynamite this week, what's coming up on the pay-per-view this weekend. I mean, I'm sure for casual fans, they probably don't know all the details. They don't care, but a lot of the hardcore fans, they rather care what's going on, what's the latest report from the dirt sheets about backstage than versus looking ahead and being excited for another pay-per-view this weekend. So it's just really unfortunate. It's sad. And it creates like a really black cloud for the industry in many ways. But then again, it's also a sign that maybe the powers that be that run this company need to do a better job of laying the law down and showing who's boss, who's in charge, and the prisoners can't run the prison type of mentality. They got to stop that. I mean, as we know, Vince McMahon wouldn't allow this stuff to happen on his watch. Granted, I know Shawn Michaels, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart had altercations in the 90s, but that turned into a shoot that turned into a work for pay-per-view main events and whatnot. So
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. So
I've been seeing a lot of people commenting on this whole thing on all different platforms saying,
yeah.
"Oh, they need an Undertaker. They need someone in the they need someone in the locker room to, and look, I feel like yeah, that's cool and all, but I still don't feel like that would work, especially if, the main guy, which is Tony Khan, doesn't or isn't going to do anything, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you don't want, if two guys are fighting and then you got one guy coming over trying to say, hey, we all need to, it doesn't look like no one's going to listen,
Well, the
especially
thing,
someone like CM Punk.
yeah. Well, here's the thing: they got a bunch of veterans in that locker room.
They
People
do.
from WWE or
Mm-hmm.
people who've been in the indie scene for a long time. They have a lot of veterans in their late 20s, early 30s, late 30s, early 40s. Like they got a lot of veterans who should be mature enough to handle business or help control the chaos back there, but apparently not. It's not working, or there's still just issues, or unfortunately, it sounds like the common denominator is CM Punk,
Yeah.
who needs to a little bit of reality check. Like, dude, cut this out. So, as far as Jack Perry, CM Punk here, let's as far as the glass spot, because I know originally it was reported that Jack Perry, I guess, wanted to do this glass spot, asked Tony Schiavone. He asked the early report saying then told him to go ask CM Punk. CM Punk said no. Now the new report is saying, I guess Jack Perry got it approved, was about to do it. CM Punk just approached him on his own, said, no, don't do it. Cause Collision is CM Punk's show more or less. And I think he thinks he's completely in charge of it. So he's telling the other wrestlers what to do. So he's kind of injecting himself into other people's business just because he thinks it's his show. He runs things. So when it kind of sounds like he needs to kind of mind his own business, unless he's like, he's not the booker of Collision. So it's like, okay, if there's other segments on this show, he doesn't oversee them all. Unless Tony Khan gives him specific power or title change. And I'm talking about not titles like a belt, like a title, like a job title. Like, yeah, CM Punk needs to back off and like let people do their segments and don't tell them what to do. So, and that's where it kind of seems like Jack Perry got frustrated, where it's like he's trying to do his job and CM Punk's kind of inserting himself into it. And then ultimately kind of ruined his idea, what he wanted to do on television with the glass spot with Hook a couple weeks ago. And then I guess, keep in mind when these reports came out, it looked like it came from CM Punk's camp or CM Punk's side of things. So it didn't kind of paint the best picture for Jack Perry. So I'm sure Jack Perry was frustrated how he was being portrayed in the dirt sheets in the wrestling media. So my thing is both of them, they both kind of handled this wrong. I think they both went to the business for themselves. I kind of feel like, okay, Jack, if you're upset how CM Punk or his camp portrayed you in the wrestling media about this Collision incident, you have a platform, you have Twitter, voice your side of the opinion, do an interview or leak it to the dirt sheets, your side of the story, what happened. Well, it kind of looks like we're kind of getting that now with Brian Alvarez kind of updating things. And I guess Jack Perry felt that CM Punk kind of took it out on him because he's a friend of the Young Bucks, which is not right. It's like, dude, let Jack Perry do his thing. But then at the same time, dude, you both are part of the biggest show in AEW's history, arguably the biggest wrestling show of all time, and you're going to business for yourself. If you got an issue with one another, save it for after the show. Try to resolve it after the show. Jack Perry, don't be calling out CM Punk more or less in that spot. Wait, after the show to talk to him. And then CM Punk trying to approach him. CM Punk's trying to take credit as this locker room leader. He wants no drama, but he's approaching people and creating altercations and questioning them. Like, if you're a locker room leader, you got to be more mature in that. Maybe take someone aside privately, have a one-on-one conversation, but don't approach someone, pie face them, and then start pushing them. Like that's not how you properly handle yourself professionally in a situation. So you get what I'm saying? It's like they're both guilty here of how they're handling it. They both win the business for themselves, and that's just not right here. So I know there was also reports Miro and supposedly CM Punk got into a fight, I guess, the reports are saying Miro, I guess, came up afterwards and be like, hey, what happened? And supposedly, let me see. Let's see.
I think
Was it Alvarez?
I read
Okay.
that. No,
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
So let's see. Alvarez said apparently there's another near incident when CM Punk and I heard this from multiple people again. When CM Punk came through the current, Miro starts coming up and he's like, what happened with Jack Perry? CM Punk's like, oh, so now you got a problem with me now? So they get into an argument. Basically, it's like, you want to step outside? I don't know what happened, but I do know they didn't step outside and CM Punk ended up back in the trainer's room. Apparently, there was an issue with Miro and CM Punk, but that's why Miro has been all over Twitter the last couple of days. So,
Okay. So I read that, or I watched the video on Fightful Select. Sean Ross Sapp pretty much debunked the whole thing and said that it was like they were joking backstage, like they were like acting like they were going to fight one another and giggling and stuff. I don't know what to believe, man.
I mean, that's the thing. There's everyone here has their sources, all these different outlets. Mm-hmm. They're hearing different perspectives of things. So we don't know fully what's going on. So we're all trying to piece it together and try and give our input, our 2 cents on it. It just, at the end of the day, be professional. If you got an issue with someone, handle it privately. Don't turn into a fight. Have a witness there to witness like this conversation. So, and I'm sure CM Punk was just on edge all weekend already because there was the other reports. He was upset. I guess he came in a couple days later than the rest of the roster. He wanted to spend some more time with family before traveling to England. So I guess he showed up Saturday morning, but there was no car service waiting for him. He had to travel to the hotel on his own. He took the train system because I guess he tried calling the car service, but the number bounced back. So he tried to take the train system to the hotel, got lost. Fans who recognized him had to help him. I mean, there's some photos on social media of him on a train.
Yep.
So I'm sure for him, he's thinking like, dude, I'm the biggest star of this company, and the company I work for doesn't have a car service to make sure I'm getting safely to the hotel. I'm not getting lost somewhere in London. So,
yeah, that was crazy.
Which I could see from that side. You know, it's like, hey, I'm your biggest talent. Can you make sure I get to the hotel okay? Or someone help greet me and help me get to the hotel, especially since you guys have been there for a couple of days. So I do see that's frustrating. That can be upsetting. I know some people are saying, oh, that's like a diva mentality. I think, you know, you help make sure, like think about if WWE, like Brock Lesnar or Cena or someone came separately. Or Roman, yeah, WWE would make sure their top guys got to the hotel properly. So I do see why CM Punk be frustrated. So, man, I don't know, Brian. I mean, I feel like we can go on and on talking about it, but I guess the big thing is, so as SI reported, Sean Ross Sapp's also reporting, we're told as of now, CM Punk, so CM Punk and Jack Perry have been suspended. I know Sean Ross Sapp said, we're told as of now, CM Punk is not informed of a suspension by AEW. No word on Jack Perry. Nick Hasman followed up what Sean Ross Sapp had to say about CM Punk not being made aware of a suspension by AEW. From what I gather, AEW has not directly contacted Punk about his suspension, but he was informed about it by his lawyer. So, with CM Punk suspended indefinitely right now, what's going to happen with All Out this coming weekend in Chicago, their other big pay-per-view this weekend? I'm sure a lot of the hometown crowd bought tickets to CM Punk. And if CM Punk is not going to be there, I'm worried there's going to be a riot in Chicago this weekend.
I mean, it's a big, it's bad. I'm trying to piece it together in my head. Like, how, you know, could you have maybe waited and suspended Punk after All Out? Maybe was Punk even in the plans originally for All Out? Right.
I know nothing was official, but it looked like they were building towards him versus Ricky Starks. That's what it kind of looked like where they were going. Even though, it
sucks for Ricky Starks, man.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, what a moment that would have been for him, right? And dang.
Well, I mean, here's my thing. If Tony Khan was in Mongol position and some monitors fell on him during this fight, I'm assuming he might have seen or at least heard what happened.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I don't know how long this investigation is going to be, but I'm sure Tony Khan in the back of his head wants to make sure he gets CM Punk on the show next weekend. So maybe this investigation wraps up pretty quickly here. Yeah, for me, it's like if CM Punk wants to be a locker room leader, he needs to quit like create altercations with all these people.
Yeah.
And just be more professional. It sounds like, you know, he's a fragile ego, and if things don't go his way, he gets vocal about it and gets in people's faces. So I mean, I feel like, I don't know. Is there anything else from this we need to talk about at this point? I feel like we've kind of addressed it all.
Well, I will say that it's really crazy how things change so quickly, right? I mean, I can remember when CM Punk debuted and how everybody in the company, everybody, you know, all the EVP, everyone was excited, right? Including the Young Bucks. I believe they were right there by the curtain as he went through, right? And it's just crazy how things have changed so quickly, you know, with Cody being gone, obviously, and then that trickling down to all this CM Punk stuff. It's been a crazy situation, and you know, I hope that it all gets figured out just for sake of AEW, right? I mean, CM Punk is their biggest star, no matter what they say. You know, I mean, people can argue it's Kenny, they can argue it's the Bucks, they can argue it's MJF, even, you know, right? But CM Punk is that guy. A lot of people really love Collision, and I know he's got a lot to do with that. You know, he brings.
I've been liking Collision when I tune in. We're able to catch it. I like the flow and the presentation and the matches.
Yeah.
A lot of times in the last couple of months, I think it's been better than Dynamite week to week. So, but
I
don't know, Brian. It's just frustrating because we want to see AEW be successful, but not at the cost of like all this drama that's holding it back. Or it's unfortunate that this drama, you know, could hold them back from like, you know, maybe reaching new highs because of people holding them down.
And even being able to retain some people, right? Like, if this is going to continue to happen, this is going to be a yearly thing, right? Of CM Punk and, you know, insert, you know, the next wrestler,
altercation
right?
person. Yeah.
It's going to be tough for Tony Khan to to retain people, to have people want to be there. I mean, aside from CM Punk himself, CM Punk, you know, was it someone saying that he said, I hate this place, right?
That's the other. Yeah, another report was apparently he was mouthing after the altercations, like, I hate this place. Or apparently it was another report, right? Didn't he get he got into an argument with Tony Khan, right? That was another one. I completely forgot about that one.
Yeah,
that he got into with Tony.
I saw that one like right before we got on.
That was late today.
I was like, oh my God, now he's getting into it with Tony. So it's like that adds a whole nother element. Now, if he really got into it with Tony, you know,
didn't he voice saying like he quit, right? Or he wants to quit?
I think he said he wanted to quit. Yeah.
Let me see here. Our sources.
That's a whole nother like.
Okay,
situation.
PW Torch. Punk confronted Tony Khan in his locker room in what has been characterized as a heated, intense manner, and at one point, according to three sources who have heard about the situation, told Khan he quit and chewed out Khan with harsh phrasing. Nick Hausman reported Punk told Tony it feels like he's working in a zoo. So yeah, see, even before we record tonight, more info's coming out. So
yeah,
it's, you know, I know that there were reports saying, CM Punk says he quits or wants to quit, but what's the context? Is he just frustrated and he's just saying, man, I quit? Or did he legit go to Tony Khan, I quit this place? Like the context of it. If, you know, we've all worked jobs, we get frustrated, maybe, you know, mumble to ourselves, man, I quit, or I want to get out of here. So we'll see how it goes. I mean, it's got to be a quick turnaround. Dynamite's tomorrow. Collision's on Saturday, All Out this Sunday. So it's going to be curious to see what happens next over the next few days, especially because I don't think All Out's sold that well ticket wise. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see more the ongoing CM Punk saga continuing AEW, and we're trying our best to keep track of it all and discuss it all. But yeah, I just feel like come on, man, you gotta be a little more professional, and especially dealing with all this stuff. So, all right. Now let's talk about the actual show, All In, the big pay-per-view this weekend. As we mentioned at the top of the show, it's supposed to be a day to celebrate. The most tickets sold for a wrestling show. Congrats to them. 81,035 tickets. That's what Nigel said towards the end of the show. Made the big announcement. So congrats to them. I mean, what a time. I mean, Brian, think about it. We're really in a great boom period right now for pro wrestling, where we have a legit second competitor to WWE. We got other promotions running, indies going well. Like, there's a lot of wrestling to consume, and we joke about it, but there's a lot of options for people. So it's a really great time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh yeah.
So it's awesome to see a company do that well and perform great this weekend. So I guess we'll start big and then work our way down the card. Just kind of your initial thoughts about All In. I guess, I'm curious. We didn't have a chance to do like a predictions video before the pay-per-view. What was kind of your thoughts going into the pay-per-view? What were some of your expectations? Did the show live up to those expectations? Kind of, and your overall thoughts of the show.
Yeah. Going into the show, I didn't really have very high expectations because I didn't want to, I didn't want to get mad if something that I thought didn't go right, or, you hear you think of all the possible things that could happen, especially on a show like this inside of a stadium that holds over 80,000 plus, right?
Yeah.
All the weeks leading up to it about breaking the record, right, for the most paid and for a pro wrestling show is you start to think like, oh man, I wonder what they're gonna do, right? That's got to be something big. But I kind of just kept it, reality, and just was just like, all right, well, I'm not expecting too much. I will say that they did surprise me with some. The show to me wasn't perfect, but it did make me want to be there. I was a little jealous, and I was like, man, like it just looks fun, like all of the drama aside, all of the politicking aside, like all of the the technicalities, like, oh, this should have did this, or this match should have been here, or why is this, just to be in an atmosphere, with 80,000 fans, just having a good time. There's nothing like that at all, right? And so to miss that one, it was like, oh man.
Well, no, I'm with you. Like, there's definitely some FOMO as far as seeing some of our wrestling media peers there who actually from America who went over there, and it seemed like they were having a great time. I guess checking out the Rev Pro show the night before that Will Ospreay was at, the Chris Jericho sneak attacked him at, and it just seems like it was a really great opportunity. It seemed like they did like a little bit of a media, what do you call it? Media scrum, or press junket the day before, where Paul White was doing interviews, and some other wrestlers were doing interviews that day. A lot of eventful stuff from that press day too happened, but
a lot.
So, but I will admit, okay, going into this show, I'll be honest, I didn't have big expectations, just because I didn't think it was the strongest card as far as matches. Just there was not a lot of great, compelling stories. I thought, outside of Adam Cole and MJF, which I've been digging, some of the stuff felt kind of thrown together last minute. I mean, they didn't announce most of these matches till last week, I think it was. Yeah. So I think for most of August, a lot of people were like, what's going to be at All In at the end of the month? So I didn't have the most expectations or high expectations. Also, I think it's unfortunate. This card could have been a lot stronger, but unfortunately, due to injuries, there were some names that people wanted to see that couldn't wrestle. For example, Bryan Danielson, he's been out a couple months now since Forbidden Door with the broken arm. Jamie Hayter, I know, is another one. British wrestler who I'm sure the crowd would love to see in her home country. And there's a few other people that I think people wanted to see wrestle, but just unfortunately due to injuries couldn't make it. So I give Tony Khan and the powers that be credit. They seem to kind of do. This is the best card that they could put together with the available talent. Now, there's still a lot of names that people wanted to see, but just couldn't make it work. I thought the show overall looked amazing. I'm with you, Brian. You see like over 80,000 people immediately. I just think of like WrestleMania vibes. And this very much was like their WrestleMania 1. It was them trying to really prove that they deserve to exist in the wrestling landscape. And they hit it out of the park in that aspect from a visual standpoint, the fireworks, all that.
That shot the hard cam was facing where like all those fans were like, that middle section, everyone was cheering and hands up, and it was crazy, man. I was like, oh
yeah. It's a mixture of like WrestleMania vibes, but also SummerSlam 92 vibes, just for the England or the British crowd really always come out strong and chant, sing along, all that stuff for the for a wrestling show. I thought the show overall was really good. There's some great matches and some fun stuff there. My issue though, I didn't feel like there was like this one big, oh my God moment that will be like truly remembered for years to come. Something that happened that will, oh my God, you remember the very first All In at Wembley Stadium, XYZ happened. That's something that people will talk about for years to come. There wasn't that type of big moment. So that was kind of disappointing a little bit, or a little bit of a what's the word, like disappointing or underwhelming like I wish there was something big to happen, be like, oh my God, that was the night this happened. But
that's a good point. I agree with you, because it's like I'm looking at the card right now and I'm just like, like it just, there was nothing, and I'm just playing it back in my head. There was really nothing that, usually like, right. And not to compare, because I hate doing that, but like WrestleMania, for example, right. There's always something. I know WrestleMania, or at least over the last few years, has a reputation of being not that great, right? Like not feeling like, at least a lot of the times, the build is what people don't really like about WrestleMania, right? But when you watch it, whether you're there or you're watching at home, there's always something, right? Like it looks great, the production's amazing, presentation's on point, and there's always something, right? There's always that one match where like something happens or something goes on. There's a moment, something, right? I mean, you go back to WrestleMania 31 with the NWO DX whole thing, The Rock, even, right? Ronda Rousey,
Seth Rollins cashing in, the heist of the century. But you look, and then what was it, WrestleMania 34, Bryan Danielson returns, make his big return, Ronda Rousey's debut. 35, Kofi Mania, winning WWE title. That was an amazing moment to witness in person. But also the Triple Man event with the ladies that night. I'm with you as far as this year 39 was, can Cody Rhodes defeat Roman Reigns and end his long streak as champion? Also Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn coming back together to defeat the Usos, who had the longest tag title reign. Gunther's match. I mean, we're still thinking about all that stuff. And then even WrestleMania last year in Dallas, Stone Cold returning, Cody Rhodes returning to WWE. Roman beating Brock and becoming double champion. They're Johnny Knoxville. I mean, this is an example. You and I, like, WrestleMania creates these big moments that we look back on and remember to this day. I mean, hell, Shawn Michaels, Ric Flair, I'm sorry, I love you. Shawn Michaels, Undertaker, and Triple H for that 4-year span. So the streak ending. So that's an example for anyone listening right now, where WWE does a great job at WrestleMania creating these big moments, story beat moments that people will remember for years to come and reflect on. So I'm with you as far as.
And I know that All In, I guess technically isn't their or at least right now, isn't their biggest show, right? I mean, I know they put a lot of focus on Double or Nothing. They put a lot of focus on the all out shows, but and it had a lot of potential. Like there was matches on this card that had potential, but again, I think the lack of attention to detail and build, like you said, the injuries that played a part. I think some people may have been on this card that probably shouldn't have been. There's a lot of people that are still with the company that were like day ones who I wish I could have seen, right? Maybe be in a program or be in a situation. So yeah, it was overall though, it was a decent show. It was really good.
Yeah, it was so fun, and as they did say, they're going to be return to Wembley next year. So they're going to do All In. So I guess All In for right now is going to be back to being like an annual yearly thing in Wembley Stadium.
What do you think about that? What are your thoughts on that?
I think a lot of people bought tickets because they're legit fans of AEW and want to be part of the spectacle. I get that. And I'm sure there's a lot of people want to buy tickets just because it was the first time a non-WWE company was holding a show of that size. So I think a lot of people just want to buy a ticket to be part of this historical event. So I'm sure that's why they were able to sell so many tickets, because it's the first ever of its kind.
Right.
Now that that's come and gone, that prestige, that honor, it's not there anymore. So I think they're going to have a big task next year trying to sell that many tickets again, or expecting that same type of attendance.
Yeah.
And, next year, I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who want to go just because they saw how great it looked this year and want to be part of it next year. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who say, I went last year to the first one.
Yeah.
Been there, done that. I don't need to go next year. So I think it's going to be it's going to be interesting, case by case scenario for fans who wants to go and who doesn't want to go. The people who saw it, I want to be part of that next year, are going to go, and the ones who went this year be like, I already did it. I don't need to go again this year.
Yeah.
So that it's going to be a tough task. And then if the build's not as strong, if it's similar to like it was this year, I think the prestige of it being the first ever, I think regardless of the build, that's why I think a lot of the tickets were sold. But next year, since it's going to be the second time, it's not going to be as special in that sense. And if the build is just as weak as it was this year, they're probably not going to sell as many tickets.
Probably not.
Year.
Yeah.
No. But yeah. So with that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the matches now. The pre-show 0 Hour kicked off. I thought it was kind of cool with Renee Paquette, Anthony Ogogo, Kip Sabian, and Big Show kind of up in that room. Kind of reminds me of like the NBA on on ESPN, NBA on ESPN type of vibe, or any sports show where it's like they cut to them, and they're playing Bush's Machine Head a lot. And like, I mean, I love that song in the 90s, but dude, they kept playing that a lot as like the rejoin music. Like, so they must have been like hearing it on repeat in the stadium.
Right.
For the match itself, so first match was MJF, Adam Cole taking on Aussie Open for the ROH tag titles. Not a long match here. I think it was like, a little over 8 minutes. I was still kind of shocked that the two guys in your main event were going to be on 0 Hour at first, but I kind of get it. It was kind of booking this one night story that they had building here. What you think of this opening match here?
I really feel like I was confused. So I didn't really like MJF and Adam Cole, two guys who were going to be in the main event going after, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. Wasn't a fan of the idea. I felt like it automatically kind of gave away the results of that match. Like, oh, there's no way that MJF and Adam Cole are going to lose right before they get ready to face each other in the main event. But and I know we'll get to it, but like after watching the main event, I kind of have an idea of what I think might happen down the road. But I feel like it was a great match. The fans were like super into it. It was neat to see like, MJF and Adam Cole, they came out like a generic creator wrestler tag team on the WWE game. Like they were like just pumping up. They were like, slapping hands with the crowd and stuff. So it was a little weird, but fans were really into this match. I really enjoyed it. But the one thing that I didn't like was that it was on the 0 hour.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have been fine if it was on the main card, in first match on the main card, second match on the main card. But the fact it was on the 0 hour, when probably not everybody was even in their seats yet, right? It's just, I don't know. I just didn't like that.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Like, one, I thought it was just kind of risky. You have your two main eventers on 0 hour wrestling show. Knock on wood,
Yep.
Don't risk potential injury or something and cost your big man event from 81,000 people. But I guess I see what the story they're trying to tell here. Because let's talk about this real quick. We haven't had a chance to talk about it. The whole MJF Adam Cole storyline is now turned into their bloodline storyline for AEW. It's the best story going right now in AEW. Originally started as them fighting against each other for the title. Adam Cole lost to MJF. So now they got this heated rivalry. Had to be forced to be tag team partners for that blind eliminator tag team tournament. So they become tag teams, but over that time they start becoming friendly with one another, hanging out with each other. They start becoming friends. MJF, who's an asshole to everyone, kind of opens up to Adam Cole and reveals why he is an a-hole is because he's never had friends growing up. So he's always had this wall. Adam Cole's breaking that wall down and trying to be friendly with him. And as we see from these different segments, them outside of AEW, they're trying to be friendly and hang out and do events together, and they become closer. And then they have the actual, they win the tag team tournament, fight FTR. They lose, but by doing so, they stay still want to support each other, and they still want to be a tag team. And it's all about the double clothesline and all these different story beats. So over the last couple months, they've grown really close together. And then, so that's why, to me, it's like, for seeing them going for the ROH tag titles, it seems like below them. Like, I feel like the AEW tag titles, the A titles for this company, is what they should be going after. But I get it. As far as they got FTR busy with Young Bucks, that's another match or story they want to tell separately. So it kind of feels like the ROH tag titles, it's an easy tag titles for them to go after and use that as a mechanism for eventually when they split up. So they're using it as a ploy. Unfortunately, so they did pick up the win over Aussie Open. Feel bad for Aussie Open. They're like the new signees. They got the ROH tag titles and now they lose them. So now they're trying to float back into obscurity on the roster. That's what I'm worried about. It kind of feels like AEW and ROH tag titles, it's almost like the SmackDown and Raw tag titles right now. It's like the AEW are the Raw titles and ROH are the SmackDown titles right now. So it's like, well, we own this brand. So here, you guys use this for right now. I just want to know, now that they're tag team champions, are they going to show up on ROH TV on Honor Club behind a paywall? So maybe that's a ploy it's a secret ploy conspiracy just to get more people to subscribe to that. I don't know here, but the highlight was the double clothesline. MJF hit the kangaroo kick. They pick up the 1-2-3 over Aussie Open. So they're celebrating, and the crowd popped for that and stuff. So I'm sure there's going to be a ploy down the road when they eventually lose those titles that might lead to the split between the two of them. Just early prediction here what that could lead to. Next up, we saw Hook take on Jack Perry for the FTW Championship. We talked about it kind of already in regards to CM Punk. I mean, ultimately, Hook picked up the victory over Jack Perry by submission. Hook now is the FTW champion once again. His dad Taz, very happy about that. Anything else? I mean, I feel like the big story was just the CM Punk stuff. But anything else from this match that stood out for you?
Jack Perry had a nice special entrance.
Yes, it was like Dominic and felt like Dominic Mysterio, right?
That was the first of the night. I was happy to see that. I was like, all right, that's cool. So they're taking advantage of like some special entrances using vehicles and stuff. I like that. But no, nothing too much to take away from it. Did the match ever go to the ring?
It did, because remember, they did they were on the steps.
Oh,
After they went through the window, they were bleeding. Jack Perry's back was bleeding, and then when they go
yeah,
to the ring, they were on the outside, and they did the like a brain buster on the steps out there, the steel
yep,
steps. So yeah, eventually went inside. So, but yeah, they started early on the outside. So
that's right.
it was a fine match for 0 Hour. I wish this story had a little more build to it. It kind of like I don't know. It's a little bit of a lackluster build between the two of them. So I know
It looked
Jack
like
Perry's.
it
Yeah.
looked like it was priority at first when they first split, and then
Yes.
it quickly just dropped right like to like one of the bottom. You know what I
Yeah.
mean in terms of priority and importance, because I
Mm-hmm.
thought this was going to be a feud that was going to be heavy, like
Elevate both of them.
elevate both of them, especially Hook. I thought we were gonna get some deep story, that we were gonna see a little bit of more of personality come from Hook, but I
Yeah.
guess not.
Explain like why that FTW title means a lot to him and why he wants it back.
Mhm.
It seemed like when they split and Jack turned heel on Hook, yeah, I'm with you, Brian. It made sense. It seemed like it was going to be a big story for the two of them, but no, then Jack went on this separate, path of like challenging former ECW guys, and they had the match with
Yeah,
Rob Van Dam, and I felt like they should have done a better job building up Hook to come back to. It's like, oh yeah, he turned on Hook. We should conclude. So now Jack Perry lost already and lost the title. So now it's like he turns heel and he's already kind of lost his momentum as a heel now.
yep.
So that's what I'm kind of worried for Jack Perry moving forward. Now he's suspended. So the time off TV is that going to hurt his momentum as well as a heel? So that's something we could discuss, in the coming weeks.
Unless he comes back and he goes after someone's dead parent, like Christian.
I know, exactly. We'll see. Yeah, that's how that goes.
That'll give him some heat.
Let's talk about the main show here. So it did start with CM Punk and Samoa Joe for the real World Championship. This is something we haven't a chance to talk about. This happened on Collision a few weeks ago, where CM Punk took his title out of the red bag, spray painted X on it because an X is his symbol here. So he's claiming he's the real world champion. So he's been holding, as we know, he only appears on Collision. That's his show. He's been showing the title on there the last couple of weeks. It's interesting, Brian. We have a chance to talk about this. It feels like, they say it's not official, but there's loosely like a brand split, a roster split. Like they have the Elite and all their buddies on Dynamite, Punk and all his friends, and the Misfits over on Collision.
Yep.
So it's almost like they have two world champions now. They got MJF, the champion for Dynamite. They got CM Punk, the champion over on Collision. So it's almost like MJF is the WWE champion. CM Punk is the world heavyweight champion on Collision. Where's your thoughts on him being the world heavyweight champion, or excuse me, the real world champion, and having the X and just kind of having this separate title on Collision?
I don't like it because I feel like they don't know what they're doing with it yet.
Exactly.
Right. That's really the only reason why I don't like it. I was sure that we were going to get some type of title unification at All Out, just because I'm in Chicago. It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
And then it would shoot what you could. I mean, if it was going to be MJF, right? And that's what I also thought. I thought MJF Cole was going to conclude at All In, and then we were going to go right into MJF and CM Punk, and then that'll officially turn MJF babyface, like all the way babyface, and then CM Punk can go full heel. I don't know, man. I don't really like it. I feel like it's just something, maybe one of Punk's ideas, right? Like, no, I never got beat, so I'm the champion type deal. But how do you like bridge that gap now to connect CM Punk back to MJF to potentially have a unification match, right? I mean, I don't know. I don't know how they do that.
I'm sure the goal was to do some sort of unification, him versus MJF, because they do have history in AEW already, and maybe they thought, well, let's try to get one more match out of the two of them, and this time involving the world title. But now MJF is busy on this very organic storyline with Adam Cole that's taken off, and they don't want to jump ship from that yet, as we'll talk about with the main event here. So I'm sure they're probably like, okay, well, let CM Punk be real world champion for a little bit longer. Just maybe ride that out for a bit. I mean, but now who knows with his suspension and his future in AEW, it's all up in the air. But I think they're just gonna let that ride for as long as they can. So
they're gonna have a real world championship tournament now.
Yes, it's if he gets suspended or he leaves AEW, yeah, maybe they'll have a tournament for that to crown a new one, or maybe they'll say, all right, he's gone, he takes that title with him.
I haven't heard the word interim in a very long time.
Yeah, interim. The AEW likes that one too. So, all right, next match was a 6-man tag. It was Bullet Club Gold, along with Takesha. So this was Juice Robinson and Jay White along with Takesha taking on the Golden Elite, which is Kenny Omega, Ibushi, and Hangman Adam Page. This match was a lot of fun. A lot of high spots. I'm really digging Bullet Club Gold lately. I kind of like what they've been turning into. Because originally Juice Robinson, Jay White, they got their history from New Japan and Bullet Club. I like the addition of the Gun Club. I know, Brian, you're a big Gun Club fan. But they kind of fit the role of what Bullet Club Gold is because they represent like obnoxious, they're obnoxious characters.
Yep.
And Juice Robinson and Jay White, Juice Robinson especially, is this over-top character. So they all kind of fit each other personality-wise. And so then to beef up them as a faction, having all four of them together, I'm digging what Bullet Club Gold is. What were you kind of thinking about them as of late?
I like them, and I like the addition. Them aligning themselves with Austin and Colton, two of my favorite, who I feel like are the new and improved Smoking Guns. Okay, the new age Outlaws.
It is. I mean, they got the Shawn Michaels inspired pants, which is always interesting. I don't think commentaries ever really acknowledged that, but it's like you look and it's like, okay, that's like Shawn Michaels 92, 93 pants that they're wearing.
Yeah,
which
it's no secret they think that Hunter and Shawn was cooler than their dad and the Road Dogg.
That's the thing. God, I know they didn't interview Chris Van Vliet, the two of them.
Yeah.
So I'm curious, for them growing up as little kids, being around DX and all those guys. So that's probably been really cool. So
super cool.
But the match itself, a lot of fun, a lot of spots here. With the finish here though, which was very shocking, which I know a lot of people were talking about here, and I have it right here. Let's see. Ibushi tried to save Omega and briefly had slugfest with Takesha, but the numbers of White and Robinson, which took Page out as well. Omega and Takesha traded forearms to Takesha, line connected. White grounded Omega. Let me skip in here. Oh no, sorry. Oops. My notes were all over the place. Okay. Page blindsided Takesha with a buckshot to the neck as Omega caught White with a V trigger and one for Robinson as well. Omega was going to go home for a home run shot. Takesha flew in, rolled up Omega for the flash pin. So the elite, Golden Elite were very shocked as the bad guys won here. So what do you think of this finish here? I think everyone thought Golden Elite were going to win, but Takesha snuck up on Omega for the roll-up pin here and shocked the world just because I think we all rolled off Bullet Club Gold from winning this match. But
so now that I think about it, if you want to create it's all about execution, right? We talk about the moments and how All In, WrestleMania like feel event, right? Should have had more moments. I think this had a lot of potential to be a moment. I think everyone in that stadium was shocked, right? To see Takesha get the victory. Even me, like I was clapping. I was like, yes, this is what I like right here. I love the unpredictability. I love the energy. I love the shocked reaction from the crowd. Don Callis, obviously, like getting up from the announce table, being like, yeah.
Well, ultimately, good. I think here, this is an example of a match here that's setting up for something next week for All Out, and it was made official during the media scrum. Takesha is going to fight Kenny Omega 1-on-1 next week at All Out. So I can see why in this match you'll sacrifice a babyface losing to set up a 1-on-1 match, for next weekend.
I feel like if you want to create a star out of this young man, then you gotta let him beat Kenny at All Out too.
I'm kind of thinking that too. It's like
he's gotta punish him, right?
It's very like WWE-esque booking where you let the upcoming heel get a sneaky victory in a 6-man tag, which can be viewed as a throwaway match.
Yep.
But then when it comes to the 1-on-1 match, the following event, usually the established veteran picks up the win.
Yeah.
But then a lot of time, what was the point of that? You didn't really establish a new star. I'm with you. I think if they're smart, they should let Takesha pick up the victory next week over Kenny Omega. Yep. Now you really set Takesha as a main event player. He's got Don Callis as his mouthpiece. He's a badass in the ring himself. He's has a young, bright future ahead of him. And this is a big stepping stone. So, yeah, I think they should do that as well. We'll see what happens. Next up, FTR defended the AEW World Tag Titles against the Young Bucks. I love the Young Bucks coming out with the Freddie Mercury inspired gear from Queen. Queen had that legendary performance at Wembley Stadium back in the 80s for a Live Aid. So it was cool. They're wearing the Freddie Mercury inspired ring gear. This match, Brian, was one of my favorites for the night.
Yeah,
I mean, FTR, between their matches with the Briscoes and now with the Young Bucks, over the last couple years, man, they've just been putting on banger after banger of tag team matches. And I seen the kind of the discussion online. This probably wasn't as good as some of the other Young Buck matches.
Yeah,
I had a lot of fun with it. How about you? What'd you think of it?
It was a good match. I will say that it's not really my cup of tea in terms of tag team wrestling. Like, I just sometimes I get distracted by the referee standing there, letting all 4 guys go at it, enforcing 0 tag team rules, right?
Yes, that is frustrating.
And I feel like in a match like this where you have so many false finishes, doing each other's finishers, right? I feel like I'm like, where's the tag? Who's the legal man? Like, what's going on, right? And so I know because FTR and the Young Bucks are so incredible and so mesmerizing when they're in there doing what they do that you don't really think about that stuff in the moment. But so I wasn't really tripping, after the first watch, but going back and watching some of the highlights of it, I'm like, dang, that could have been executed better, or maybe this would have been better if the referee was distracted over here, and you know what I mean, like actual and I know they're both really good, especially FTR. I feel like are the better tag team wrestling guys. I just wish that they would have put it on display here, especially in this match, especially if they were going to get the win. It was kind of odd.
There's that one spot, I forgot which was it. Matt Jackson was pinning one, was pinning one FTR, or no, was it? No, it was Nick. I think it was Nick Jackson was pinning Cash, and then the ref was looking like about to count 3, but he pulled his arm up. So I don't know. It was an odd spot there. I think the commentators were like, "Whoa, wait, did he pull his opponent up instead of going for the 3rd pin, the count 3?" So that was kind of odd there. I did love, the callback. Wheeler went for a 450 splash, missed it. The Young Bucks hit the BTE trigger. Harwood broke it up, and then Harwood knew. They turned to a shatter machine while Wheeler ate another BT trigger, only to kick out. There was a lot of kick outs here, obviously. This big of a match. With every near fall, the crowd gets more and more loud. The Bucks tried the Meltzer driver, but FTR somehow countered into shatter machine in midair and got the pin. Oh, also, I love the callbacks. Was it one of the Young Bucks? I think it was Matt did like the Bret Hart elbow off the ropes. And they did like a roll up, like Bret and British Bulldog, Bret Hart, British Bulldog, SummerSlam '92. So there was some Bret callbacks in this match there, which was cool. But yeah, that finish with the Bucks trying to do the Meltzer driver, but then somehow FTR countered and Shatter Machine in midair, got the pin. So FTR retained. Kind of shocking though. FTR went to go for a handshake, but Bucks denied them and walked out. So both teams going into the match were very much baby faces. But yeah, Young Bucks kind of saying F you to FTR and walking out. So I don't know. Does that mean they're going to go heel again or they're just frustrated? So hopefully get some follow up on Dynamite or Collision, some follow up dialogue with that. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Next up, it was Stadium Stampede match. Eddie Kingston, Penta, and Best Friends taking on Blackpool Combat Club and Mike Santana and Ortiz, 5-on-5.
I have to say first, Santana and Ortiz, they don't look happy to be. I don't know that. I don't know the vibe right now. I don't want to. But I know that they had some issues, some disagreements, and they, although they're back, I don't think they look like they don't look happy to be working together again. Mike Santana looks like a completely different guy. Like he looks like he's ready to go have a singles run, right? And just the vibe when they were making their entrance just didn't feel like excited to be back,
It's interesting. Well, yeah, because Santana came back on Dynamite last week, and everyone's like, "Oh, Santana Ortiz, proud and powerful, are back. They're back on the website." But even last week on Dynamite, they didn't acknowledge each other, even though they're both on the same team. Even here, didn't acknowledge. So, is this a one-time thing, and they're still going to do separate runs, or? I hope they work things out. I like them as a tag team, and I've said this before. I think it's a shame in 4 years of AEW's existence.
Oh man,
Santana Ortiz have yet to win AEW tag titles.
Yeah,
I think early on, especially when they joined the Inner Circle, they should have won those tag titles early on, especially how hot they were and how hot Inner Circle was as like a heel faction. It was such bad booking. Yeah.
Again, it's another one of those day one teams that I talked about earlier, those day one guys that, really, in my opinion, if you were going to bring them back, you probably could have bumped them up. Maybe put them in the tag title conversation. I know everyone wanted to see FTR Young Bucks, so I get that.
Yeah.
But if they're going to be together, I think that they got to make an impact. And I would love to see Santana and Ortiz go after FTR next if the Young Bucks are gonna cry and be sad that they lost.
Well, it's interesting, not to jump ahead a little bit, but I know it's not official, but there's loosely like a roster split between Dynamite and Collision, and it kind of looks like certain titles are only focused on one show or the other. So it kind of looks like MJF AEW World Titles Dynamite, Orange Cassidy International titles on Dynamite. Now that jumping ahead, the Acclaim or Trio champion, maybe they can focus that on Dynamite. I know originally House of Black was always just exclusively Collision, but now Collision has CM Punk Real World Champion, FTR Tag Team Champions, Luchasaurus and Christian Cage as TNT Champion. Chris Statlander, she should be on TBS on Dynamite. She's TBS.
I think she might have had one match on Collision, but I think she's still on Rampage too.
So and then the real and then the women's champion Dynamite. So you get what I'm saying? It's like they kind of split the titles up between the two different shows. So maybe Santana Ortiz can go over on Collision and kind of challenge FTR there.
We should do like a little like side episode one day, and we should we should take the whole entire AEW roster and just like split them up ourselves with who we think would be better for Dynamite and who we think would be better for Collision.
Absolutely. There's so many. Keith Lee is someone I keep thinking of, just untapped potential. Swerve, we'll talk about Swerve in a little bit. Swerve should be the next big heel for that company. I've been loving what he's been doing as of late. So Stadium Stampede, though, it wasn't like Stadium Stampede the first time when it was at Double or Nothing back in 2020, closed stadium. that was very much a cinematic match where it was supposed to be in real time, but everyone was doing different things in different parts of the stadium. So this one felt more like Anarchy in the Arena.
Yep.
As far as the presentation goes.
Mhm.
So what I did enjoy was I think they did a smart job. They kind of divide and conquer here. So they had 10 guys in this match. Half of them stayed in the ring and were doing stuff, hardcore stuff in the ring, while the other half went down like hallways and different entrances, went all over the
different
stadium.
sections of the stadium.
Yeah. So that way, it was very chaotic. The camera's trying to keep track of everything, but you're missing part of it. You just can't keep track of it all.
Yeah.
But I think it was smart to have people stay in the ring. So that way the people in attendance have something to visually watch in real time in person. And then for what's happening down the hallways, they can look up at the monitors and the big screens and stuff. So I thought that was smart from an in-house presentation for the fans in attendance. For us on TV, we're just watching it all on split screen. It didn't really matter. But because I know sometimes like Anarchy and Arena and whatnot, like they'll go down the hall. So if you're in the building, you can't see what's happening because they're out of sight, out of mind down the hallway. So you have to watch on the screen. For us at home, we just watch it all on the camera through the TV.
Yep.
And so, but yeah, this match was all over the place. It was crazy. Eddie Kingston, shout out to him wearing a Patrick Ewing New York Knicks jersey. I love that. It was one of my favorite players in the 90s growing up. This match was chaotic, a little messy at points. God, Moxley taking the skewers to the head. That with Penta, oh man, that was nasty. I can't. It's gross to me. That is just gross. Penta got hurt, came back later, different outfit, but the crowd didn't really pop for it. It was very underwhelming.
This was such a horrible execution, and I'm watching with Charlie, my son, right, and it was like one after another. It was Sue, is her name?
Yes.
Trent's mom comes down, right? They do that whole part. Who was it that pushed her, or was it Moxley?
Moxley kissed her.
Oh, he kissed her, right?
She came out with the cookie sheet, or the cookies on the cookie sheet, and then they took the cookie sheet and hit him in the head because reportedly she used to bring cookies to everyone, so it was a good callback for how sweet she is.
So I see that going down, and then and then we're like, what's this? Yeah. And it was Penta, right? Dark Penta or Penta Oscuro, right? Yeah. And immediately goes after, it was Mike Santana, right?
Yeah.
And they do this spot on the ladder. And it's like a one-sided ladder. The other side is obviously clearly not supposed to be.
It's gimmicked, yeah.
And it's gimmicked on top of that, right? So he starts climbing, and you can hear it. It's the stadium is still trying to figure out what's going on. You can clearly hear it go.
Large crack pop. Like, oh my god, he falls. I give Alex Abrahantes. He jumped in, grabbed the ladder, held it down, keep it sturdy for Penta. Penta reclimbed it, finished the table spot. So I give Alex credit for helping finish it. But that initial botch, I was like, oh god, that was bad.
I was trolling on Twitter. I was strictly trolling, but I was like, get this crap off my TV. What am I watching?
I know. Like I said, there were aspects of it that was just bad, but there was aspects that was really cool. I did like seeing Eddie Kingston go after Claudio, so that feud, that ongoing feud that is still there. Eddie Kingston made the big return, stomping to the ring, took out Moxley through the table, and there was that shot of both of them bleeding. Eddie flipped off Moxley, when Kingston walked out from backstage, he was holding a barbed wire chair, hit everyone until Moxley tried to stop him. Kingston started firing off spinning back fists on Claudio and Moxley, who he ultimately tackled through a setup corner table. Orange Cassidy popped up and hit an orange punch wrapped in glass on Claudio, got the win in this chaotic battle, which, by the way, I did love that when Orange Cassidy had the taped up hand, put it in the bucket full of glass. Call that, is it kick or
go ahead?
Kickboxer, Jean-Claude Van Damme?
So I don't know why I thought I originally I first thing I thought of was Home Alone.
Oh, okay. No. So no, so or I was thinking Hot Shots Part 2 with Charlie Sheen in the 90s. No, but the John Claude movie Kickboxer, the underground fight club thing, I forgot the whole story, but
Yeah.
they cover themselves in like cloth and stuff and put glass and fight each other with glass. It's if you Google it, you can see it. So it was Kickboxer, but yeah, I can totally see Home Alone.
Yeah, I was
But I know Hot Shots Part 2 with Charlie Sheen, that the opening scene makes fun of Kickboxer with that. So that's my thought here. So
Yep.
great callback for 80s action movies right there.
Mhm.
So yeah, the baby faces pick up the victory. Best friends carry Orange Cassidy out to back to the locker room there. So that, so fun match all over the place. It was chaotic. So we got a couple more here. So next up, for the AEW Women's World Championship is a fatal four-way with Sheeta defending against Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, and Saraya. Unfortunately, it was not a long match. It didn't get a lot of love. Not even 9 minutes.
Nope.
We didn't mention this earlier, but on the pre-show, it was featured Mercedes Moné, aka Sasha Banks, was in attendance watching. A lot of people are speculating, what does that mean? What is she going to come to AEW at some point? We'll talk about it in a second, but what's your thought on this four-way match here?
I thought it was too short. I thought, again, it's one of those tough situations where I know Britt Baker is going to be on this card, right? Which,
Yes,
in my opinion, that means you probably should have had more women's matches on the show, because I mean, you can argue that I don't know her status with the company, but TBS champ
Statlander.
Statlander.
Jade Cargill.
Jade Cargill.
Yeah.
I don't know her status with the company, but
Yeah.
she should have been on this. I mean, how do you go undefeated that long, right, as TBS champion, and then you don't make the biggest show to date?
Dude, imagine if she was on this show, the entrance she could have had.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then you could have ended the streak here.
Yeah.
And that could have been a big moment.
Huge. Could have been a huge moment.
But I know what Jay Cargill wanted time off already. It was scheduled. So
yeah,
whatever it was, the reports were.
For sure. You could have even used this moment. I think even a Jade Cargill face off with Mercedes would have been cool.
Yeah.
Cool moment to do as well. I really the match was too short. I thought it should have been longer. They did some good stuff in it though. Credit to Toni Storm, Hikaru Shida, Saraya. Credit to her too. I still think that she wrestles a little stiff, like a little cautious at times. In my opinion, like when I see her wrestle, she's obviously not like going super hard. I know that she said in an interview, I forget who it was with, but she said she's like 100%. Her neck is completely fine. We'll see. I mean, she doesn't wrestle on a weekly basis either, you know, like we'll see. Hopefully that she gets to wrestle more women. But yeah, man, Hikaru Shida, I think, should have retained.
Yeah, that's kind of the big discussion here.
But I get it. I get why Saraya. I thought it was cool. She got the interest with her family. That was neat. I
think that, or I was gonna say that could have been interpreted as a big moment. I know we were talking about big moments. So yeah, Saraya, I thought it was cool. She came out the Queens. Was it We Will Rock You? Yeah, We Will Rock You. Came out with the family. First time wrestling, I think, in the UK or England. 8 years for her?
Yeah,
very emotional moment for her, be with her family and just to celebrate that. So just kudos to her, and I'm just super happy for her. This match ultimately was the breakdown of the Outcasts, though.
Yeah. I was gonna say that. So Saraya and Toni Storm, they had their moments in the match where they were like going back and forth, but a few times it left me going, "Okay, guys, just wrestle." You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You don't got that much time though. Just wrestle. I would have loved to look. I'm glad that her family and her mom got to get involved with Toni Storm, but it looked like like there was no execution of that. Like it was like Tony Storm inadvertently hit her mom, and then Saraya's like, what? Right? And then did nothing afterwards, So I don't know. It was
like you watched it. You saw Saraya's mom was holding, was it Britt Baker? Britt Baker got out of the way and Tony Storm accidentally hit her, but yet Saraya was like, what? Why'd you do that? Like, it was an accident. Yep. I mean, I hate those type of spots because it's like, if you're watching the whole time, you clearly saw your mom holding one of the opponents and your teammate trying to go for the swing. So your mom was interfering, but yet you're getting all butthurt, like, how dare you hit my mom? What was an accident?
I really wish that they would have figured that out or worked on that a little more prior in terms of like reaction and how Saraya was going to react to that. I liked Ruby Soho coming out to try and stop Tony Storm from, she was telling her like her neck, right?
Yeah.
That was cool, but then she kind of left and never came back. I was like, all right.
So that's the thing, when Ruby left and it's like, okay, what's going on here? My thing is, okay, you got two members of Outcast in this match.
Yeah.
What was their plan? Like, what's their kayfabe plan for winning? Like, was one, they never, I don't know if I miss it, but like kayfabe wise, was one supposed to help the other to make sure they win, or like a numbers game 2 against 2? Or I always get annoyed when there's like members of the same team in like a multi-person match, and when one of them accidentally hits the other or something, then they get all mad. It's like you guys are in a match. It's every person for themselves. Unless you clearly say in advance where it's like, okay, hey, we're both in this match, but this person knows their role. They're just going to help me win. And so I just get annoyed with these type of matches where it's like all of a sudden Saraya and Tony Storm are getting mad at each other. It's like, well, technically it's every person for themselves. Like, what was your plan? They said, we had a plan. I was like, what was that plan? Was Saraya supposed to be the one that's going to win this? Or was Tony Storm supposed to be the one that win this? The other person helps them out. So if you never explain that detail in the story leading up to this, when there's a communication breakdown, you're like, who cares? Like, what
I was gonna say, it would have helped them a lot if they were gonna do that drama from within the match, right? To tell that story with the Outcast, I would have liked them to kind of explain the plan on on TV, right? Dynamite, Collision, wherever. You could have had, okay, look, so you had your shot, you had your chance. Let's try and get me the win. When I win the title, you're the first challenger, right? That type of deal.
Like with Sammy Guevara and MJF earlier this year. It's like, hey, we'll tag, or we're in this match together, the 4 pillars. If I pay you, you help me retain. And then return, well, I guess he paid him. That's the return there. Right. But and it's the same thing. You have a fatal 4-way where 2 people are on the same team initially. It's like, they should explain it beforehand. It's like, okay, listen, we're the Outcast. Tony Storm was the most recent champion. Our goal is to get her back that title. Me, Saraya, I offer my services to help her win. And in return, Tony Storm promised me to be her first number 1 contender after. Like, if you establish that, then it kind of makes sense why the 2 of them would gang up on the other 2 people in this match.
I'm gonna say something that everybody said in regards to Asuka more recently, right? And heading into her triple threat match with Charlotte and Bianca Belair. A lot of people said that, poor Asuka, she's kind of been put on the back burner because all the focus has been put on Charlotte and
Bianca
Belair. I felt like in this match, all the focus got put on Saraya and Tony Storm. Hell, even Britt Baker got like completely ignored, right? In this match. And so I really feel like, or I really hope that they got some sort of plan, right, going forward for the Outcasts. And just, I don't know if they're going to split up and then it's going to be some championship match amongst the 3 or something. I don't know.
Yeah. So, I mean, Saraya, let's see. Sheeta hit a Meteora and Katana kick, but Baker was there to apply the lockjaw. With the submission applied, Baker didn't realize Saraya sprayed Tony Storm in the eyes with the spray paint and then hit the nightcap to get the pin and win the title. So, and then after the match, Saraya and her family are celebrating. So Saraya is your new AEW Women's Champion. Congrats to her in front of 81,000 people to win a title in front of her home country, a title or just any championship that no one thought she was able to win. At least no one thought she was going to wrestle again. So to be able to come back with a different company, win their title in front of her home crowd, the largest paid crowd ever. It's a great story for Saraya here now, coming full circle from where she was a few years ago. So you can't have to be happy for her as a person. Now for her as the wrestler and storyline, be curious to where they go. Is the Outcast going to fall apart now? Which that could be a whole nother discussion. Just I kind of wish the Outcast would have done more as a team, but that's all another discussion we can get into. But yeah, so just very happy moment for her. Mercedes Moné. I don't know. I don't think she's going to sign with AEW. I think she might do some one-offs. I think that's her thing. She likes doing pay by appearance, not sign a long-term deal.
She knows where home is.
She knows where home is, absolutely. And come on, this big show, only one women's match, not even 9 minutes long. Yeah. I'm sure for her, she's like, nah, I'm not going to join a company that doesn't put enough attention to the women's division.
Definitely not. Definitely not a good thing to do when you got her sitting in the crowd. And might I add, in the nosebleed section,
right? Not even as sweet. Like she was just in the crowd, like random crowd. So like I don't know. That was interesting. So, but yeah, I don't think she's gonna sign. I could see her doing one-offs. I mean, maybe that they come to an agreement. It's like, pay me by appearance, and maybe she has a handful of matches with them at some point. I mean, her versus Saraya could be money because there's history there, because Paige and Sasha in WWE, it was that house show. Sasha accidentally hurt Saraya or Paige, which ultimately forced her to retire. So they can come full circle with that story at some point. So we shall see. All right, let's power through this real quick. Next up, coffin match: Darby Allin and Sting taking on Swerve and Christian Cage. Love seeing Sting come out to Metallica, Seek and Destroy. Great call back to his WCW days.
Reminds me of one of I remember hearing that song, hearing that from one of the WCW video games that I had or something.
Oh yeah,
It was either the video game or he had that theme song when he was fighting Vampiro a lot, right? That was
I think then. So. Yeah. Now this match was a lot of fun. I mean, Sting, to his credit, 64 years old? Still, is he 64? He's just still going out there kicking ass, doing a lot of big spots here. Darby 64. took the brunt of it all. Swerve, like I said, his character work as of late shows that he's a great heel and should be elevated as like the next big heel for this company. So
he got the big WrestleMania like entrance with his, having his the guy come out and rap his theme song. I thought that was cool.
Exactly.
The match to me, Huey, was good, but I was more interested in Swerve and AR Fox against Darby and Sting. I don't know what I mean. Obviously Christian he's Christian, right? So
it's more star power. And it's like Darby in the last month or so has two different storylines going on. He's got the storyline with Christian Cage and Luchasaurus with the TNT title on TNT over on Collision, and then on Dynamite, him and Nick Wayne have this story with AR Fox and Swerve. So he has like these two storylines separately. Now they're coming ahead together. So it's like they take out AR Fox and put Christian in his spot. So I get it for bigger star power.
Yeah.
But
they have so much potential with Swerve and AR Fox. And I loved how they beat down Nick Wayne.
That was a great video package at Nick Wayne's house. Good. I loved it. That's an example of like Swerve showing what he could do as a menacing heel, that he gets great heat from that and be like, I want to see someone kick his ass to get revenge. It's like a great action movie where the bad guy does a lot of bad stuff and then the hero comes in and saves the day. Yeah. So now we need a great baby face to take him out at some point. So, but yeah, AR Fox, he was with with the Mogul Embassy for a minute. Then they lose. He gets kicked out, and then Darby picks up AR Fox, says, I know we're mad at each other, but we're good now. And Nick Wayne's just standing there like, yeah, but like 2 weeks ago, AR Fox helped Swerve almost kill Nick Wayne in his house, left him bleeding in the ring. I'm like, dude, if I'm Nick Wayne, I'd be like, Darby, why are you siding with this guy? He almost killed me a couple weeks ago. That doesn't make sense. Come on. Now, they better have a follow-up, maybe on Dynamite, maybe AR Fox and Nick Wayne have a moment and be like, hey, man, maybe AR Fox can apologize. Like, hey, man, I'm sorry. My head wasn't right. I got caught up in Swerve's, what do you call it? Swerve's persuasion. He convinced me to join him, and I was drinking the cool. I'm just like, I got caught up in Swerve's power, and you get what I'm saying. Like I feel like he got caught up in what Swerve can bring to the table and elevate his career, and he got persuaded. But he realized that was not the right thing to do, and maybe apologize, and then Nick Wayne's like, well, I forgive you, but you got to. I want you to prove it to me as well. Maybe they go on a tear together to kind of win back each other's trust or something like that. So, so that was interesting though. But the finish though was interesting because I know Sting was in the coffin. Swerve tried to close it, but Sting used the bat to stop it. Then they got Swerve in there, stuck his hands out. They slammed the door on his hands, and then let's see, Sting escaped. He ate a kill shot kick, but took way too long on the top. Missed a 450 on the cop. Let's see. Darby Allin was on the outside, fought back with the TNT title, shot to the face on Christian. Sting laid out Strickland with the death drop on top of the coffin. With Strickland half stuck in the coffin, Darby did a coffin drop on top of it and slammed the door shut to win the match there. I did say you notice his head or his dreads were sticking out.
I've seen that.
So some people were like, not all of them's inside the coffin. And then they cut away and they cut back and then his dreads were gone. So like maybe someone said put his hair inside. It's like I get all aspects of his body inside the coffin there. So
I will say that WWE would have killed it with these with the camera work in this match. I felt like AEW they came a little bit short with some of the camera work that could have been done in this match, but it was a good match.
Yeah. Next up, Will Ospreay taking on Chris Jericho. Shout out Chris Jericho, friend of the show. Fozzy played Judas out to the ring. Chris Jericho got to sing and walk to the ring while singing. So it was cool for Fozzy. They got to play in front of 81,000 people, their biggest performance ever.
Super
that was cool. Like seeing Jericho do the Day-O. Freddie Mercury callback right there as well. A lot of Freddie Mercury references on this Wembley Stadium show, rightfully so. Will Ospreay came out. Dude, his entrance was phenomenal. If anything, if that was not AEW's way of saying, like, see, if you join us, we'll make you look like $1 million, like the next big star. I know his contract is supposedly up into this year with New Japan. I'm sure AEW will love to have him on their roster, and they're probably man. You can get these type of entrances all the time if you join us. So the match itself was great. I think Chris Jericho really did his best to kind of go back to the Jericho of old, of the 90s, kind of a lot of his spots here. What'd you think of how this match played out?
I thought it was good, better than I thought it was going to be initially, because I thought that it should have been Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega, but once they sold me with the promos and stuff that they did on Dynamite, so I wasn't too mad at it. But then watching the match, I was like, okay, this is actually not that bad. Chris Jericho looked probably, I think, top 5, his best ever since he joined AEW. Top 5. This is one of his top 5 best performances against Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay looked amazing out there. So yeah, it was a good match.
Yeah, towards the end, it was Ospreay hit the hitting blade and then the Stormbreaker, but Jericho kicked out. That's when Ospreay took off his elbow pad as Jericho flipped off Will Ospreay and dared him to hit him. Ospreay charged for another hidden blade and another Stormbreaker to win it. Post-match, though, Jericho was clearly upset. He's been having issues with the Jericho Appreciation Society as of late on TV. Sammy Guevara was out there with his old Inner Circle vest, and I tried to console Jericho, but Jericho shoved him away multiple times and just left on his own. So Sammy's like, what the hell, man? So we'll see how that plays out on TV in the coming weeks as well. So that's probably a new story they're going to pick up from.
Don Callis, 2-0. 2-0.
What's that?
Don Callis.
Oh,
is
yes, that's right.
Wembley.
I like this. The Don Callis family call back to Bobby the Brain Heenan, the Heenan family. Yep. You know, he's just recruiting the best talents, free agents available to represent. So I love it. All right. For the AEW World Trios Championship, it was House of Black taking on the Acclaim and badass Billy Gunn. It was a house rules match. Ended up being a no holds barred 6-man tag match. I love that Billy Gunn, he's been known as daddy ass in AEW, but for him to go to a new level and some new attitude, badass Billy Gunn, a callback to his WWE days. I saw some people say, oh, it's his version of the Demon. Like Finn Balor has the Demon. Billy Gunn's going badass. Right. So I thought that was funny. This match was not really long, but it was more of just Billy Gunn coming out of, quote, retirement or short-term retirement to get revenge on the House of Black for taking his boots, ruining them, beating up the Acclaim. You know, it didn't go super long here, but you know, it kind of served its purpose. I thought this match could easily have been like a main event for a Dynamite or a Collision. What do you think of this one?
I agree. Same thing. It just wasn't really co-main event or match before the main event level, but you know, I'll take it. Little confused by the outcome with Billy Gunn and the Acclaim beating the House of Black. That was a little shocker.
Yeah. So let's see. Caster hit the mic drop, but Brody King kicked out at 1. Then Billy Gunn hit another famouser, and then an arrival by Bowens and a second mic drop by Caster got the win, and now they're new trios champions. House of Black didn't want to give the titles at first, but then they showed respect and gave it to the three of them, and they said the Gun deserves a moment. And then badass scissored into the scissor me daddy celebration. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So I think the trios will probably be more featured on Dynamite again if they kind of keep the titles evenly spread out amongst their two shows. So next up, last but not least, the main event for the AEW World Championship, MJF defending against Adam Cole. Both of them come out with their Ring of Honor tag titles that they won. This match was really good. It's more about the story of the finish here. Let me go ahead and just power through this real quick. Let's see. Okay, because there's quite a bit to cover here. Let's see. So, you know, they're beating each other up, but they get back in the ring. Both yell for the double clothesline. They collide at the same time with each other. Both of them had their arms over each other. Referee Bryce made the count, double pin, so ultimately it looks like it ended in a draw. Adam Cole grabbed the mic, said wanted 5 more minutes. Call back to their first match or championship match from months ago. MJF declined, said they're going until they have a winner in fucking Wembley. So both men, so they continued the match. Both got quick roll-ups. Collided with referee Bryce. MJF grabbed a chair. Both men were trying to be like Eddie Guerrero and throwing the chair back at each other, hot potato style, till Adam Cole bumped and MJF wrapped the chair around his head, acted dead there. Adam Cole couldn't believe what was going on. Bryce recovered and saw the chair, but MJF got a schoolboy for 2, hit a thrust kick and a heat seeker for a near fall. To the apron, they went. Cole hit a Florida key on the edge of the ring and Panama Sunrise onto the floor. That looked painful. MJF kicked out on the backside, back inside. Cole won a proper one in the ring, but MJF pulled Bryce in and Cole laid out the ref with the Panama Sunrise. That was insane. Bryce taking a Panama Sunrise. Ultimate ref bump. And then to the end, MJF reached in his trunks for the Dynamite Diamond Ring, but he couldn't do it. He just showed resentment. He's like, he want to hurt his friend. Put the ring back. Roderick Strong showed up and punted MJF low. Cole turned, didn't realize what happened. Strong told Cole to finish it as Cole hit a Panama Sunrise and lowered the boom, but there was no referee there to make the pin. Bryce recovered and MJF kicked out at 2. Roderick Strong threw the AEW title at Cole and told him to use it. Cole took off his shirt because they're both wearing their shirts, their merch shirt at the beginning of the match. But he couldn't himself do it. He couldn't bring himself to hit MJF with the title. Strong stormed to the back. MJF surprised Cole with the inside cradle, got the flash pin. Cole was left in shock. So MJF picked up the victory there. So the story there was they both showed restraint. MJF didn't use the ring. Adam Cole didn't use the world title to hit MJF while the ref was down. Ultimately cost him. It was very much the same finish like Jack Perry did a few months ago with MJF. So Adam Cole did the right thing, but it cost him the title. After the match, MJF said the crowd still loves Cole and MJF. MJF got lucky. Cole was in tears. MJF grabbed the ROH titles. Tag titles said Cole still has them, but Adam Cole slapped them away. MJF broke down, called Cole a fake piece of ass, threw the AEW title at Cole, saying he was never his friend, turning his back and yelling, telling Cole to hit him. Roderick Strong appeared again on the apron, yelling for Cole to do it, but Cole threw down the belt again, hugged MJF. Cole and MJF stood tall with their hands raised as power went off the air and confetti poured down the king. Oh, and then we saw the Kingdom come out and they were consoling Roderick Strong on the aisle. So it was probably the best babyface type finish, happy ending that they could have done here. I know some people were kind of critical. It could have been better. How do you think of this finish played out?
It was also another situation where I feel like it was better than I thought it was going to be because I just didn't know. I was like, it's too predictable to have MJF turn on Adam Cole or Adam Cole turn on MJF. Like you see it, it's right there, right? So I was surprised that they, sort of worked it out, and it was like, dare I say, Benoit and Eddie Guerrero WrestleMania 20, like it was like the confetti going off, them in the ring, and it just had that vibe to it. And I'm curious to see how they're going to continue. It's again, we're talking. This is their bloodline like story, right? Yeah. So it keeps you wanting to come back week after week to see what happens, how the story progresses. I mentioned in the beginning that them winning the Ring of Honor tag team titles bothered me or confused me, but after seeing Roderick Strong be heavily involved in this, his involvement with the Kingdom, I wouldn't be surprised if the Kingdom are the ones to take the Ring of Honor tag titles from MJF and Adam Cole at the hands of the help of Roderick Strong, maybe to create some type of, maybe it'll, something to make it so that Adam Cole, knows he's got a side back with his friends, his best friends. And then maybe that's how we get Adam Cole, MJF again, sometime down the road. I don't know when, but it's just like, okay, maybe Tony's got something going here. The Kingdom, I believe they aren't they Ring of Honor, right? Aren't they Ring of Honor? Yeah. So
Ring of Honor.
It would make complete sense if they're the ones to actually take the titles from MJF and Adam Cole. And with Roderick Strong, lingering around, it wouldn't surprise me if he cost them the championship. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how Kyle O'Reilly's health is right now, or whenever he's due back. Maybe he's factored into this as well. I don't know.
It's interesting. So I think a lot of people thought there was going to be a heel turn here. Someone was going to turn on someone, and that ultimately would decide the finish here. We did not get that. Ultimately, they both realized they want to be friends with each other still. They didn't hurt their opponent or cheated to win. ultimately, MJF wins, retains, and they both celebrate together to prove that they're still friends with each other. I think they creative realize we have something good here.
Yeah.
Let's keep this story going a little bit longer. So that's why they probably decided on this finish instead of a heel turn here. Let's let this ride out a little bit longer. I think Adam Cole's gonna be the one to turn on MJF because they had that hug a couple weeks ago, and Adam Cole did like the backstab motion on the back there, patting MJF on the back. I think the point here is MJF is now babyface, and it's right. This is the right time to do it because the crowd loves him. But it's something different. We like him yelling, screaming all the time got really stale. Him being vulnerable now and him explaining over the last couple months why he acts like the way he is because he didn't have friends growing up.
Yep.
And that's why he became such an a-hole because he just was trying to shut out the world. Because he was just mad at the world because he didn't have friends. But Adam Cole was able to break him down and show him that he's really a good person. And I love this character work that they've been doing for both of them. And then therefore, the fact that MJF lowered his, was vulnerable and opened up to someone, and that person then ultimately turns on him, MJF will become the biggest baby face and then go on this tear to hopefully maybe win back the title at some point would mean much more. So it'd be more impactful for Adam Cole to be the heel here. He's
Cole,
better. He's great. He's great as an a-hole heel.
Adam Cole leaving MJF in a pile of his own blood.
Yeah.
Just that would be perfect.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
And the fact that Roderick Strong is pissed and wants his friend to turn on MJF, you got the Kingdom involved. I think that as a faction, as a new faction, is great. Because Adam Cole has history with the Kingdom, because that was his faction at ROH back in the day. He has history with Roderick Strong, with Undisputed Era and NXT. We had members of the Undisputed Era in AEW, but it didn't work out. Bobby Fish contract was up and was gone. Kyle O'Reilly's still out recovering from neck surgery. So I think this is a great fusion of both those worlds. You got you got Adam Cole, Roderick Strong in the Kingdom. It's like the best of both worlds, from the NXT and ROH worlds coming together. And I saw I forgot where I saw it. Someone online said they should call it Undisputed Kingdom.
That would be
as
cool.
a faction name. Yeah, kind of play on words of both factions coming together.
Yeah.
I can see, but yeah, maybe that's a great story. But you brought up too, maybe they lose the ROH titles to the Kingdom, and that kind of starts the dissension of them falling apart. And then they have a rematch, and Adam Cole uses those guys to help win the AEW World Championship, and then he becomes a heel and has a heel faction with all the gold and all that stuff. So we'll see where it goes. I hope we get some big story beats coming up, and I'm sure, they're like, we got something good here. Now, granted, as we kind of see with the Bloodline, people are complaining it's kind of maybe running its course or running a little too long. I think this is a situation here. They got to be careful and not let this go overstay its welcome.
Yeah.
You read the room, kind of read the vibes, like, okay, I think we told as much as we can. You got to pull the trigger and like, let's get to the next big story beat here. So they didn't do a big story beat here at All In. Save it for another pay-per-view then. So we'll see how it goes. But no, overall, very fun show. Congrats for them for putting on such a huge show accomplishment. And we'll see what the fallout is on this week and then All Out next weekend as well. Maybe they defend the ROH tag titles at All Out. Just throwing it out there. Maybe that's how you get them on the card. So on that note, let's start wrapping things up. Brian, where the Kliqsters can find you online?
Kliqsters, you guys can find me at BrianTronic on Twitter and Instagram, or X. And Instagram, I guess it's X. I don't know.
That's right. And not the X on CM Punk's title.
No.
I'm Baby Huey. Follow me on Facebook at Baby Huey Official, Twitter and Instagram at Baby Huey83. For everything else, subscribe to In The Kliq wherever you get your podcasts at. If you watch us on YouTube, hit the like button or subscribe button. Give us a like on the video. Leave a comment. Share the podcast. Subscribe to us on audio form as well. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Follow us on social media at In The Kliq. Emails inthekliq@gmail.com. And on that note, let's go home. And that's the bottom line because Huey said so.